Hey guys, welcome to another Crash Course video, this time for Camellya. Camellya is the new Havoc DPS, so let's just get straight into it. So for now, I'll just go through her basic combo chains. She has two forms, so I'll just call this form White Camellya and the other form Red Camellya. And this is her combo chain, so you simply press basic attack like this. And she goes into a spin. However, you can press and hold the spin to extend it, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Spin, release. And she can access this spin via combo 3 or combo 4 or straight out from heavy attack. So if I press and hold basic attack like this, she goes straight into a spin. And the good thing about this spin is that it will actually parry all incoming attacks. Now for holding an attack after the third combo, 1, 2, 3, and then hold it. Or hold it after the fourth combo, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the full one. Just like that. As for her plunge attack, it's simple. No other gimmicks about it. Now let's talk about Red Camellya. It's called the Blossom State, and you simply access this by pressing her Resonance skill. So press E, and she goes into suspended form. And her basic attack chain will be different. So if I press basic, it'll look like this. A wider spin. You can also hold this simply by pressing basic and then hold. Or you can simply just hold the entire basic attack button from start to finish and she'll do all 3 combo sequences on her own. So if I press and hold right now, she does it like this. You don't have to spam basic at all. So it has a wider AoE on this spin. But the downside to this form is that you can't really move. It's less mobile. If you really want to move around, you gotta press dodge. And pressing jump or pressing resonance skill will cancel this form. So if I press jump, she reverts back to White Camellya. Or resonance skill. Now if I press resonance skill, same thing, resonance skill, reverts. One thing to note is that her E skill can also be used in the air, like this. So if you really want to stay in this form indefinitely, what you can do is press jump and then press E so that you stay in this form. Remember, when you press jump, it's just gonna cancel her form, revert back to normal, but you can press E again, resonance skill, and then she's back here. So one thing to note is that when she's suspended in the air, you can see that her stamina is constantly draining. Using attacks also drain the stamina, but it's at a really slow rate, so it shouldn't be a problem at all. Now let me cancel this by jumping back to White Camellya. So now you got the gist of it. Basically, you can just press and hold basic if you want and to go spin. She's just a spin to win character, so I'll spare you all the details. All you need to know for Camellya is just spin. Spin in normal. Go into red. Spin in this form as well. It's all spinning. Just like that. And then either jump or resonance skill to cancel out of this form. Like that. Now let's talk about her forte. I will cut to the chase and skip all the wall attacks tooltips. I'll just list out the steps here. All you need to know is that step 1, perform an intro attack. Step 2 is to spend the gauge. And the only way to do that is by simply attacking. Every attack except for Resonance Liberation, except for Ultimate, will consume the gauge. And the more forte gauge you consume, the more concerto you get, and also the more damage bonus you will get later on. So from the top, step 1, intro. Step 2, finish up the gauge, doing every attack except for ultimate. Step 3 will be the state that I am in right now, with empty gauge and also full concerto, with her enhanced resonance skill ready. And after doing her enhanced resonance skill, she will go into this state called budding mode, where all her damage except for ultimate will be increased by 50% up to 100%, depending on the number of forte gauge you've consumed. Okay, hopefully you've been following so far. It's actually simpler than it looks, except that the tooltip makes it look complicated than it is. So I'll go over from the top again. We'll start off with intro. So I'll start with Verena. Now that she's full, intro Camellya, and she'll have a full gauge. Like this. Just spam any attack. Spam all her attacks. Spam E, spam your spin. See how the gauge is draining? And now it's full empty gauge with 10 stacks. E is glowing. Press E. It's a nuke. And then same thing. Spend it all. This is basically her nuke phase. Free damage. And that's how you play her. Okay, so from the top again. First intro Camellya in. Her gauge will be full. Spam all her skills. Resonance skill, her spinning attack to empty the gauge. Once the gauge is empty, wait for your concerto to be full. Once concerto is full, her E skill will be glowing. Press that skill. She will do a nuke. And then she will go into an enhanced state. More damage. And you repeat the same thing again. Spam her spin. Spam E skill until it's empty. As for her ultimate, it's similar to Jinxie, where it doesn't do anything else except that it does free damage and also gives you concerto. It'll act as a concerto battery. And I can bring her in again. Intro is full again. Do the same thing again. Finish the gauge. And then get concerto. Press E. Same thing. During this form, spam everything. So TLDR to play Camellya, to be honest, before I release this guide, you're probably already playing her correctly. It's simply pressing the buttons when they light up. That's about it. Switch her in, full gauge, spam all the attacks until her E is glowing. Press the glowing E and then spam all the attacks and then use ultimate whenever it's available and then switch her out. That's it for Camellya. Now you're a master of playing Camellya. So one cool thing is that if you want to travel with Camellya in her red form, all you need to do is press grapple while in this form, like this, and then you can run with her. But then dodging and jumping will cancel it. See, like that. Now let's talk about her gear and skills. For her weapon, obviously her signature weapon is the best. If you don't have it, like me on my F2P account, you can just use Emerald of Genesis. It's also really formidable because it gives crit rate as well, and the effects for it is also decent. Chang'Li's signature weapon is also fine for her. Otherwise, the BP 4-star weapon is also good. Otherwise, just use any attack-based weapon for her. Really straightforward for weapon. As for her Echo, you can opt for 4-3-3-1-1 configuration or 4-4-1-1-1 with both Crownless and Dreamless. And depending on the weapon that you have, the usual for the 4 cost, you go either crit rate or crit damage to balance your 1-to-2 crit rate and crit damage ratio. For the 3 costs, you can just go double element or element and attack. So either double havoc or havoc and attack. The differences are negligible. And of course, 1 cost will be attack and attack. As for substats, it's also the usual. Both crit rate, crit damage for substats, attack percent or flat attack, energy regen, and basic attack. So Camellya scales off basic attack. You want basic attack damage if you can help it. For her skill leveling priority, I'll just give it straight to you. Level everything except for intro if you're resource strapped. You need both normal attack, resonance skill, Forte, because normal attack and resonance skill both has her spin damage, and Forte is that nuke that she has, and Liberation, for obvious reasons, it's free damage. So these 4 are priority and everything else across the board up here. Intro having a lower priority for the same obvious reasons, and that's basically it. So level everything pretty much. Intro being last. For her resonance change sequences, Camellya is already playable at S0, so if you already have 1 copy of her, that's enough as far as her gameplay goes, because all of her other sequences are just numbers. It just increases her damage. So S1 is not that important. Casting intro gives her critical damage increase and also immune to interruption when she does her Forte explosion. S2 is the first stopping point where that explosion damage is increased by 120% for the damage multiplier. And then S3 is the next stopping point where ultimate damage is increased by 50% and her attack is increased by a whopping 58% during budding mode. Budding mode is that state she's in after using her enhanced E skill, resonance skill. And after that, S4 and S5 are not that good as far as costs go. S4 is basic attack bonus for the party. S5 is an outro and intro skill buff. So there's a mistake in the translation here. It's actually intro skill increased by 303% and outro skill is increased by 68%. And then S6, TLDR of S6 is that you get an extra charge of her special enhanced E skill after doing it, so you can explode twice. And also a massive damage increase when she's in that enhanced state. To put it simply, her stopping point are S0, S2, S3, and then S6. You want to skip S1, S4, and 5. So 2, 3, 6, or keep it at 0. Team composition wise, straightforward. The first character that you start with is the healer, so either Shorekeeper or Verena. And the best second character for her is Sanhua, because Sanhua buffs basic attack. So Sanhua is gonna immensely increase her damage with her outro basic buff. And then Camellya. Their Echo set, obviously Shorekeeper or Verena goes healing set. Sanhua will go Moonlit set. And then Camellya can either go Lingering Tunes set or the Havoc set. Up to you. Lingering Tunes is also good for outro, but most people usually roll with Havoc. And one last thing for the forecast between Crownless and Dreamless, if you have questions about it. Dreamless and Crownless, they're both fine. Crownless gives you the ability to get the Havoc damage increase by simply transforming to it and dodge cancelling, like this. And then you can go about your day. And of course, Dreamless for even more damage, free damage, and also Resonance Liberation Charge. And yeah, that's about it for Camellya's Crash Course. I think this is about as Crash Course as it gets. Hopefully this video has helped you in understanding on how to play her. You're already most likely playing her correctly. It's just a spin, spin, and then press glowy buttons. And that's about it. Alright, see ya. Take care. Bye-bye.